They say discipline weighs ounces and regret weighs tons. At first, it sounds poetic, maybe even exaggerated. But when you've lived long enough, when you've missed a few opportunities, ignored a few responsibilities, or given in to comfort too many times, you realize it's not just poetry, it's reality. The weight of regret can crush a man's spirit, while the light burden of discipline can lift him to greatness. Let's start by understanding what discipline really is. Discipline isn't punishment. It isn't about restriction or deprivation. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It's the invisible bridge between dreams and results. Everyone has goals, but not everyone has the discipline to reach them. That's why the world is filled with dreamers, yet so few achievers. Discipline is the quiet force behind every success story you've ever admired. It's the alarm clock that rings before sunrise when the world is still asleep. It's the decision to open the book when you'd rather scroll your phone. It's the refusal to quit when you feel like giving up. Discipline doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, just one more step. But here's the truth. Discipline is hard. It requires sacrifice. It demands effort when the reward isn't visible. It feels heavy in the moment. But that heaviness is deceptive because discipline doesn't stay heavy. Over time, the weight of discipline transforms into strength, confidence, and freedom. The athlete who wakes up early to train might feel tired today, but tomorrow he walks taller, stronger, prouder. The student who studies instead of partying may feel bored now, but later, she stands at the top with no regrets. The entrepreneur who endures sleepless nights, building a dream, carries a light burden, now but reaps a life of independence later. On the other side is regret. Regret is silent at first. It waits. It doesn't weigh much in the moment when you skip the workout, miss the opportunity, or break your promise. But over time, regret grows heavier. It gathers layers, one missed chance after another. And before you know it, it becomes unbearable. Regret doesn't just weigh tons, it chains you to the past. You start thinking, if only I had started earlier, if only I had tried harder, if only I had been disciplined. Regret is the graveyard of wasted potential. It doesn't just hurt, it haunts. The most painful words you can ever speak are, I could have. That's the voice of regret, echoing through every unfulfilled dream. And the worst part, you can't undo it. Time won't rewind. You can't relive yesterday, no matter how much you wish you could. But here's the good news. Discipline is a choice you can make today. It's never too late to trade the weight of regret for the lightness of discipline. Every small act of discipline today is an ounce you lift off your future shoulders. You may not see the results instantly, but each decision compounds. Like drops of water forming an ocean, small acts of discipline form a legacy. Think about this. Every great success story is a story of discipline. Every failure rooted in regret is a story of avoidance. The difference between the two is not intelligence, luck, or talent. It's consistency. The disciplined person does what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like it. The undisciplined person does only what's convenient. And convenience is the silent killer of dreams. Let's break it down. Imagine two people. Both have the same 24 hours. One wakes up early, exercises, reads, plans his day, and stays focused. The other sleeps in, scrolls social media, procrastinates, and blames time. Months later, the first person is stronger, more confident, and fulfilled. The second is frustrated, bitter, and regretful. The only difference between them, discipline. not intelligence, not talent, just discipline. Discipline is doing the hard things when no one's watching. It's choosing progress over pleasure. It's the self-respect to keep promises you make to yourself. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. You'll fail at times. That's part of the process. But each time you choose discipline over comfort, you grow. You build resilience. You teach yourself that you are capable of more than your excuses. Most people never achieve their dreams, not because they can't, but because they don't stay consistent long enough to see results. They give up at the first sign of struggle. They let the weight of discipline scare them, not realizing the alternative is far heavier. The pain of discipline lasts a moment. The pain of regret lasts a lifetime. Think about your future self, 5 years from now. One version of you is disciplined. You've worked on your goals every day, improved your habits, stayed focused. The other version is full of regret, still talking about what you want to do, still blaming circumstances, still wishing for motivation. Both versions are possible, but only one will exist. The one you choose through your actions today. Discipline gives you freedom. People think discipline limits them, but it's the opposite. Discipline frees you from chaos, procrastination, and guilt. It gives you control over your life. Without discipline, you're a slave to moods, impulses, and distractions. With discipline, you master yourself. You become unstoppable because you no longer depend on motivation. You operate on commitment. Every day you're faced with two paths, the easy one and the right one. The easy path leads to temporary comfort, but lasting pain. The right path feels tough now, but leads to peace and pride. You can't escape the pain of life. You can only choose your type of pain. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One weighs ounces, the other weighs tons. Let's go deeper. Why does regret weigh so much? Because regret is emotional debt. It's what happens when you betray your own potential. Every time you don't follow through on your goals, a small part of you loses trust in yourself. And when you lose that trust, you lose confidence. That's why people who live in regret often carry a heaviness in their hearts. They're not just sad about what they didn't do. They're disappointed in who they became by not doing it. But discipline restores that trust. Each time you keep your promise to yourself, you rebuild your self-respect. You prove to yourself that you can be counted on. That's powerful. When you trust yourself, you fear nothing. When you lose that trust, even small challenges feel overwhelming. Discipline also breeds momentum. Once you start doing the right things consistently, your results multiply. You start feeling better, thinking clearer, and achieving more. That's when discipline no longer feels heavy. It becomes your habit, your lifestyle, your power. You stop chasing motivation because you've built momentum. And momentum is stronger than motivation. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest lies of our generation. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist. It's a comforting illusion. You don't change your life in the future. You change it in the present. Every day you delay, you're choosing regret. Every day you act, you're choosing discipline. Don't wait for perfect conditions. They'll never come. The perfect time to start is always now. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But discomfort is the currency of progress. The same way muscles grow under resistance, your life grows under discipline. You can't expect greatness while living in ease. You must be willing to do what others won't so you can live how others can't. The world rewards discipline. Not wishes, not intentions, not talent. Discipline. Look at the people you admire. Athletes, artists, leaders, entrepreneurs. Every one of them built their success on consistent effort. They didn't always feel motivated. They showed up anyway. That's the secret. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you going. Regret, on the other hand, comes disguised as comfort. It whispers, take it easy. You've got time. It convinces you that resting, when you haven't earned it, is self-care. It tells you that skipping today doesn't matter. But over time, those small lies pile up, and when you finally wake up to reality, it's too late. That's when regret crushes you under its weight. You have to decide what kind of pain you're willing to carry. The pain of effort or the pain of regret. The pain of effort makes you stronger. The pain of regret makes you weaker. The pain of effort leads to pride. The pain of regret leads to shame. Choose wisely, because the weight of your decisions never disappears. It just shifts from one side to another. Here's another truth. Discipline builds character. It shapes who you become when no one's watching. It's easy to act strong in public, but the real strength is built in private. In the quiet moments when you choose discipline over distraction, every small victory over laziness, every moment you push through fatigue, every time you choose progress over comfort, that's character in motion. And when you live with character, you attract opportunities. The world trusts disciplined people because they're reliable. They follow through. They deliver. That's why discipline doesn't just create success. It creates respect. And respect for yourself and from others is worth more than gold. Now imagine this at the end of your life. You're sitting in silence, reflecting on the years behind you. What do you want to feel? Pride or regret? Pride comes from knowing you gave your best, that you lived with discipline, that you didn't waste your potential. Regret comes from knowing you had the chance, but didn't take it. You had the talent, but didn't use it. You had the time, but didn't value it. Which one do you want to carry? The beauty of life is that you still have time, right now. You can't erase the past, but you can shape the future. Every disciplined decision today lightens the weight of tomorrow. Wake up early, read the book, hit the gym, save the money, make the call, start the project. Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters. So start small. Build daily habits. Let discipline become your identity, not just an occasional act. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. One step at a time, one decision at a time, 1 ounce of discipline at a time. Because in the end, those ounces will add up to a life free from tons of regret. Remember, discipline is temporary pain for permanent peace. Regret is temporary comfort for permanent pain. You'll pay either way, but the price of discipline is far cheaper than the cost of regret. Discipline is light, but its impact is heavy. Regret is heavy, but it carries nothing of value. The discipline you apply today may cost you a few moments of discomfort, a few hours of sacrifice, or a few drops of sweat. But what it gives back in return is worth more than gold. Discipline may seem like a burden now, but it's actually a builder. Building habits, building strength, building character. It's that quiet force that molds your future while no one is watching. When you choose discipline, you choose progress. You choose direction. You choose to take control of your life instead of drifting through it. You choose to say no to the easy road so you can say yes to the better one later. And that's what makes discipline so powerful. It's a short-term pain that leads to long-term peace. The discomfort it brings today is fleeting, but the pride it gives tomorrow lasts forever. Think about it. Every time you choose discipline, you're writing a new line in the story of your success. When you wake up early to train, you're not just building muscle, you're building integrity. When you choose to study instead of procrastinate, you're not just earning grades, you're earning self-respect. When you save instead of spend, when you speak truth instead of excuses, when you push through instead of giving up, you're teaching yourself that you can be trusted, that your word means something, that you have power over your impulses. Yes, discipline may feel heavy at first, like carrying a weight your shoulders aren't used to, but every repetition makes you stronger. Over time, that same weight that once felt impossible becomes light. It becomes natural. It becomes part of who you are. And that's the beauty of discipline. It transforms from effort into identity. What was once a struggle becomes your strength. What was once hard becomes your habit. Now contrast that with regret. Regret feels easy at first. It asks for nothing. It whispers, relax, you can do it tomorrow. Take a break, you deserve it. Don't push yourself too hard. It sounds kind. It feels comforting. But regret is a liar. Because what it gives you in comfort today, it steals from you in peace tomorrow. The ease it offers now turns into the heaviness you carry later. Regret weighs tons because it accumulates over time. One missed opportunity becomes another. One broken promise becomes a pattern. And before you know it, your spirit feels heavy, not from what you did, but from what you didn't do. Regret doesn't just live in your mind. It lives in your heart. It shows up in the quiet moments when you realize how much more you could have become if you had just chosen discipline when it mattered most. So yes, discipline weighs ounces. It's a small price, a little discomfort, a little patience, a little sacrifice. But regret weighs tons. It's the burden of missed chances, the pain of wasted potential, the sadness of if only. Discipline gives, regret takes. Discipline builds, regret breaks. Discipline creates freedom, regret creates chains. Every day, you have to decide which weight you want to carry. The light load of discipline, or the crushing heaviness of regret. The first feels hard for a moment. The second feels easy for a moment. But over time, the results reverse. The disciplined life becomes lighter, freer, happier. The undisciplined life becomes heavier, slower, filled with sorrow. So, when you feel that small sting of discipline, that early morning alarm, that extra repetition, that focused hour of work when others are resting, remind yourself, this is the good kind of pain. This is the weight that strengthens you, not the one that breaks you. Because in the end, the weight of discipline disappears, but the weight of regret never does. But the regret you feel later can cost you a lifetime of peace. Regret doesn't just steal your happiness. It steals your rest, your confidence, and your sense of purpose. It's a quiet thief that visits in the night, whispering reminders of what could have been. It shows up years later, when the chance to act has already passed. It lingers in the mind like a shadow that never fades, replaying the moments you chose comfort over courage, excuses over effort, and hesitation over action. You see, the pain of regret doesn't strike immediately. It waits. It grows silently while you keep postponing what you know you should be doing. One day, you look back and realize that all those little moments of avoidance, all those small decisions to take the easy way have turned into a mountain you can no longer climb. That's when it hits you. The real cost of comfort is your peace. The price of procrastination is your potential. The pain of regret is the debt you pay for undisciplined choices. Every action you take toward discipline builds strength. And every time you avoid it, you weaken your foundation. Each disciplined act, no matter how small, becomes a brick in the fortress of your character. When you do the hard things today, when you follow through on your commitments, when you stay consistent even when you don't feel like it, you are reinforcing your inner core. You are proving to yourself that you can be trusted, that you are stronger than your emotions, and that your word to yourself means something. On the other hand, every time you avoid discipline, every time you give in to excuses or delay the work that must be done, you chip away at that foundation. You may not notice the cracks at first. They're invisible in the beginning. But over time, those cracks spread. They show up as self-doubt, as guilt, as hesitation. You start to lose faith in yourself. You start to believe the lie that you're not capable, not worthy, not strong enough. But it's not true. You are capable. You are strong. You just need to stop breaking the promises you make to yourself. Discipline strengthens your spirit. Avoidance weakens it. Discipline builds momentum. Avoidance builds regret. Discipline sharpens your focus. Avoidance dulls your purpose. Each day, you are either getting stronger or softer, clearer or more confused, closer to your dreams or deeper into distraction. There is no middle ground. The world doesn't stand still. You're either climbing or sliding. Discipline helps you climb. Avoidance pulls you down. Think about it. When you choose discipline, you're planting seeds for a better tomorrow. You may not see the fruit immediately, but it's growing beneath the surface. Each act of discipline, getting up early, practicing your craft, studying a little longer, saying no to temptation, all of it adds up. And one day, when you least expect it, you'll harvest the reward of your consistency. But if you keep avoiding discipline, you're planting weeds instead. Weeds of regret, weeds of frustration, weeds of lost time. They grow quickly, and they choke the life out of your dreams. Discipline may not give you instant satisfaction, but it guarantees long-term fulfillment. Avoidance gives you instant comfort, but it guarantees long-term regret. You have to decide which one matters more, a moment of ease or a lifetime of pride. Because every time you take the easy path, you trade a piece of your future for a moment of pleasure. And the truth is, those small trades don't seem like much in the moment. Until one day, you realize you've traded everything. Every time you avoid discipline, you reinforce weakness. You teach your mind that quitting is okay, that comfort is the goal, that effort isn't worth it. And the more you reinforce that pattern, the heavier regret becomes. It builds quietly until it becomes unbearable. But every time you choose discipline, you do the opposite. You build strength. You teach your mind that you can endure. You show your spirit that growth is possible. You create a new pattern, one of commitment, courage, and control. Discipline is like lifting weights for your soul. The more you practice it, the stronger you become. At first, it's difficult. Your mind resists. Your emotions protest. But as you stay consistent, you develop mental muscles. Focus, resilience, patience, perseverance. And once you build those muscles, life becomes lighter. Challenges that once felt impossible become manageable. Tasks that used to overwhelm you become part of your rhythm. That's the transformation discipline brings. Avoiding discipline, on the other hand, is like letting your mental muscles waste away. The less you use them, the weaker they become. Soon, even small challenges feel like mountains. You start feeling helpless, stuck, and lost. Not because life is unfair, but because you stopped practicing strength. You stopped training your willpower. You stopped carrying the ounces of discipline. And now you're buried under the tons of regret. The truth is, the universe always makes you pay a price. But you get to choose which one, the price of discipline or the price of regret. One costs time, effort, and energy, but it pays you back in confidence, peace, and pride. The other costs nothing up front, but later it takes everything from you, your joy, your sleep, your self-respect. So when you face a moment of decision, when that voice inside you says, take it easy, or do it tomorrow, remind yourself, every time you avoid discipline, you're choosing to build regret instead of strength. Every time you delay action, you're telling your future self, you deal with the pain I'm avoiding today. Don't do that to yourself. Don't hand your future over to regret. Every small act of discipline today protects your peace tomorrow. Every moment of courage now saves you from a lifetime of what ifs later. Choose to pay the lighter price today, the ounces of effort, so you never have to carry the tons of regret tomorrow. On you add weight to your future regrets. The truth is, every undisciplined moment doesn't disappear. It accumulates. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, delay over determination, or excuses over execution, you're quietly adding weight to a burden your future self will have to carry. And one day, that burden will feel heavier than you ever imagined. You won't just regret what you didn't do. You'll regret the person you could have become. That's the real tragedy of regret. It doesn't just cost you opportunities. It costs you identity. It takes away your sense of pride, your belief in your own potential, your peace of mind, because deep down, you'll always know that you were capable of more, that you had the talent, the time, the chance, but you didn't act. And that realization weighs more than anything else in life. The difference between success and sorrow often comes down to a single choice. The choice to be disciplined today or to regret tomorrow. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but that's the truth of life. Success and failure aren't separated by luck, genius, or fate. They're separated by decisions, the ones you make in the quiet moments when no one is watching. When the alarm goes off in the morning, that's not just a sound. It's a decision point. When you choose to rise instead of roll over, you're not just waking up your body, you're waking up your purpose. When you choose to open that book, make that call, go for that run, or say no to distraction, you're casting a vote for your future self. Each small act of discipline is a vote for success. Each moment of avoidance is a vote for regret. We often think life changes in big, dramatic moments, but it doesn't. Life changes quietly through small, consistent decisions. It's not one grand choice that defines your future. It's the 1,000 tiny ones you make every day. The choice to focus instead of procrastinate. The choice to keep going when it gets hard. The choice to do the right thing, even when it's inconvenient. These small decisions are what separate those who rise from those who regret. The people who succeed in life aren't always the most talented or the most intelligent. They're the ones who made the right choice repeatedly. Long after the excitement wore off, they showed up when they didn't feel like it. They pushed forward when no one was clapping. They practiced discipline when others made excuses. Over time, those small choices compounded into greatness. And the people who live in sorrow, who look back with heavy hearts, didn't get there overnight either. They got there through the same process. Small, repeated choices. But in the opposite direction. They skipped the work, just this once. They delayed action, just one more day. They let comfort become a habit. And one day they woke up trapped by the consequences of their own inaction. That's why discipline isn't just a habit. It's a lifestyle. It's the daily decision to protect your future from regret. Every time you choose discipline, you're building a bridge toward peace, pride, and purpose. Every time you reject discipline, you're digging a hole that regret will someday fill. Discipline is an act of love for your future self. It's a message that says, I care enough about who I'm becoming to do what's hard right now. Regret is an act of neglect. It says, I'll let my future self deal with the consequences of my comfort today. And that's the cruel exchange too many people make. They trade peace tomorrow for ease today. But imagine this. Imagine waking up 5 years from now, standing in front of the life you've built, and realizing that every ounce of effort, every disciplined moment, every time you said no to excuses and yes to progress was worth it. That's the feeling discipline gives: peace, pride, fulfillment. Now imagine the opposite. Looking back and realizing you had the chance, but you didn't take it. You had the time, but you wasted it. You had the potential, but you never used it. That's the sting of regret. And that sting doesn't fade. It grows. Every moment is a fork in the road. One path is discipline, hard, narrow, and sometimes lonely, but leading upward to growth and glory. The other path is regret, easy, wide, crowded, but leading downward to disappointment and despair. You can't walk both. You must choose one. And the truth is, every day you delay discipline, you're already walking toward regret. So stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for motivation to appear. The right moment is now. The right time is always now. Every disciplined act today is a brick laid in the foundation of a life you'll be proud of. Every undisciplined act is a crack in that foundation, a weakness your future will have to bear. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not that one group wanted it more. It's that one group chose discipline more. They didn't avoid effort, they embraced it. They didn't fear failure, they learned from it. They didn't run from discomfort, they grew through it. So the question is, what will you choose today? The small ounce of effort or the heavy weight of regret? Because life will make you carry one of them. One will build your shoulders. The other will break your spirit. One will give you strength. The other will steal your sleep. One will open doors. The other will close them forever. When you understand that, truly understand it, you stop waiting for easy days and you start building strong habits. You stop fearing hard work because you realize it's lighter than regret. You stop running from challenges because you see they're shaping you for greatness. You stop asking for comfort because you know peace doesn't come from comfort. It comes from discipline. So let this truth echo in your mind every morning. Discipline today or regret tomorrow. One brings you peace, the other brings you pain. One feels heavy now but light later. The other feels light now but heavy forever. The choice is yours, and it's a choice you'll make every single day.